Afternoon. How are you doing? Just so you know, happy birthday to me. I was going to put my badge on, but I couldn't quite figure out where to put it because you can't see it. Anyway, how are you doing? Afternoon, FTNet, Fletch, Mark, Paul, Sarah. How we doing? Thank you very much for the happy birthdays. Over 50. Afternoon. Just so you know, I've just discovered an issue with the position trader EA on my birthday. Always good. Afternoon, Patrick. Thank you. I've just closed out some trades by accident because I was mucking about with the settings in the position trader EA. And I accidentally had exit after a set number of hours set to true. That is not in the loop for button trading only. So just bear that in mind. If you're using button trading mode, at the moment, the timed exits doesn't fall within the loop of closing positions out for some reason. And I can't quite figure out why. So I just need to check that because I've just accidentally closed out pound odd, euro Swiss in a loss, and Aussie dollar CAD by accident because obviously I was playing around with the EA earlier, just checking settings. This is how stupid it is. I was in the position trader EA in the strategy tester, mucking about with settings, doing some testing. And I accidentally made the settings changes in here and then pressed the start button and was like, that isn't what I wanted. And then I went in there and thought it's lost its settings, but I accidentally changed the settings in the live EA when I thought I was doing it in the tester. See how easy a mistake it is to make? So I've just basically closed some trades out I didn't mean to do, which is quite annoying. Luckily, they're only tiny. So just bear that in mind if you're using the timed exits because they're not in that loop. I'm going to have to recode that and release a fix for that. Anyway, afternoon, everybody else. Adam, Jury, happy birthday to me. Winnie, Tom, how we doing? I got a really cool card from my wife today. As you might know, I'm a Star Trek fan. And this is me as a Star Trek captain. How good is that? I got my own ship and everything. Sad, isn't it? Right. So let's have a look at news and everything. Indices, we got a clean break to the downside on the NASDAQ this afternoon, straight into a hedge on the DOW. Where's a pen? Stop trying to sell me your pen every time I launch it. It's so annoying. I suppose if I bought it, then they wouldn't advertise their pen to me. And it wouldn't be annoying, would it? So nice clean break to the downside, hedged on the Dow. Indices dropping dramatically and very quick. We had some news. Oh, we have had some news. Wow. Okay. When's that just come? It's literally just come in, hasn't it? I wonder why that's. Do you know what? The reason I looked at the Swiss, the Euro Swiss, was because there was a massive spike on the Swiss. We had an ADR hit on the Euro Swiss, so I switched to the Euro Swiss. That's how I found out that was going to shut my trade out. I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently Ukraine has just fired our Storm Shadow missiles into Russia. I wasn't aware that we'd given them permission to do that. So stock indices coming down hard on that news. Obviously, again, it's the same as we had yesterday. As soon as there's any escalation in conflict, stock indices collapse, Swiss franc and yen rally. So be careful with this today. This is another escalation. That means that now the US and the UK are allowing Ukraine to use our weapons to blow up Putin, which he's obviously not going to be very happy about. Western officials comments on the first use of storm shadows in Russia. Okay. Right, I didn't realize that was going to happen. So be very careful trying to long this today. Any indices, there's a possibility we could have a big collapse out of these today. So we just had the first ADR on the Euro Swiss. This is obviously that news coming in that the missiles have been launched. You'll probably find exactly the same on all the other Swiss francs, all coming down. Not quite as big a drop as we had previously. But starting, yen will probably have the same reaction. Not very big at the moment, though. So be careful, though. If Putin comes out and starts rattling sabers again, we might have a problem. US dollar CAD. I took a long on that one today, looking for a push up into propulsion. That is a weekly range hit on the US dollar CAD. So that was already done the normal weekly range. So long's gone in on that on the RSI extension. That was also actually the reason I got into that. I think, oh yeah, no, it was an RSI extension, but it was also an ADR hit yesterday. So, right. So let's have a look at news. David, thank you very much for the $10. Good afternoon to you, sir. I will like that. Thank you very much. I shall spend that tonight. I'm going out for a Chinese, so I shall go and spend that on some Chinese food. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Afternoon, Mumo. Georges, afternoon. Isn't it too risky to go long on US dollar CAD? Don't know. Who knows? Basically, the US dollar CAD, the swaps are long, and it's a long entry. So I'm going long. RSI is extended. It's rallying like crazy. Who knows? Thank you very much for the happy birthday wishes, David. So yeah, it's a long. So if it doesn't work out, I shall scale in as it comes down. There's a very good chance it's going to come down and undo this, but there's also a chance it won't. You know, this here is different to any other move that we've had in the last 4 years, because this is election of a new president in the US with a completely different mandate on everything to do with the US. So I don't see any reason why the US won't continue to rally for weeks and weeks and weeks. However, what he is putting into place when he comes in January is going to be potentially short-term negative for the US, because he's threatening to put 38% tax on imports from China. 38%. That ain't gonna be good, because everybody that wants all the stuff from China in the US isn't going to be able to get it, or the price of it's going to go skyrocketing, which basically means they probably won't import anywhere near as much, which isn't going to be good necessarily for the economy. So don't know, but I'm long on that because it's a beautiful bounce here. So triple top turns support for a long, and I'll be getting out up there. So if it does that, fine. If it just flags and breaks and does that, I'll get out when it pushes up. But who knows? This leg is over, look. So I mean, yeah, could go either way. But RSI is an RSI. Yeah, I mean, it's extended. It should pull back from it. So I'm in. I have no idea where anything's going. There's a good probability that it will come down, but I'm long only on this, so I shan't be getting any shorts. So today's news, we had the CPI for the Canadian yesterday. That was a fair bounce. 2.1, we got a 2.2, 2.6, we were expecting a 2.4, 2.5, sorry, yeah, expecting a 2.4. Monthly, quite a big bounce. So negative 0.4 to plus 0.4 is a 0.8 increase. That's a lot. That's a massive amount. So this is a very big bounce on the Canadian for CPI, a lot bigger than I think they were probably expecting, and obviously that's pushed it over on the monthly, on the yearly forecasts. So slightly bullish news yesterday for the Canadian dollar. As you can see, US dollar CAD came down substantially yesterday because obviously it's bullish for CAD, so therefore negative for everything against the CAD. CAD Swiss rally, CAD Yen rally, Euro CAD drop, but nothing particularly dramatic. So fairly big move, but not massive. We were kind of expecting a bounce on this, as the forecast suggested. We were expecting it to go up, and it did, and it came out very much similar to forecast, but it's still quite a big bounce. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't make it massively bullish, but it certainly doesn't make it bearish moving forward. CPI for the UK, we actually got a bigger bounce than expected as well today. Everybody's getting them. We were at 1.7. We were forecasting a 0.5. We actually got given a 0.6. So higher than expected CPI number. So inflation rising in the UK. We were expecting that to happen. So got out of a pound odd there by accident today. But anyway, I got out of it. Nothing much on the pound CAD, as you can see, because we've got a very strong Canadian dollar from yesterday. Now we've got a very strong pound. They cancel each other out, so it's neutral. I am long on that already, so I had a long on that from way back here, and I'm still in it. It's not going anywhere. So all the pound pairs, basically, little bit of a push up today, but nothing really dramatic anywhere really. New Zealand dollar weak, that's why that one's pushed further than normal. And that's it for news today. We've got Lagarde did her financial stability review this morning, and a little bit of speak, but nothing really exciting there. So this is this morning's news. As you can see, nothing really good there at all. The interest rates on the pound from this morning's number, 59 basis points of cuts in 2025 versus 64. So basically they're saying because that CPI number is bigger, they're expecting less chance of an interest rate drop. So, but that's it really. Nothing much else happened this morning. There was nothing else much overnight to do with Japan or anything. So that's pretty much it. The Fed are to cut funds rate by 25 basis points in December. So are the euro potentially, but we don't know. But anyway, Fed 25 basis points in December. So that is again bearish for the US. However, if you look at the numbers they're forecasting for next year, we'll be down at 4.25 hopefully by the end of this year. They're only forecasting a 0.75 drop, 0.5 to 0.75 for the whole of next year at the moment. So interest rates really starting to stabilize now, meaning that there isn't anything that's massively bullish or massively bearish. So as far as biases are concerned, you know, it doesn't really make an awful lot of difference at the moment. Everything's kind of fairly neutral. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Afternoon, Crom. Silver Ease, happy birthday. Thank you very much. Ching ching and all that. Very British, wasn't it? Ching ching. So yeah, that's the main thing we need to worry about today. So short break on the NASDAQ. We are pulling back on that DOW. So watch, if you want to go short and you're not taking ORBs, watch for a play there out of that area. This has got the possibility of dropping a fair decent distance today, but I'm going to see if I can get a runner on this. So this morning, if you were trading the indices this morning, FTSE I got out of at break even this morning. It broke up to 2R, which was a nice clean break. But I got hedged on the DAX because it's literally hour and a half. These lines here are 1.5 hours. It sat around for an hour and a half doing absolutely nothing this morning. So I was going to take TP up there, but I decided to see if we can get a pullback and a run on it. We didn't. So I decided to close that out at break even, which was the right call because it didn't do anything today. So I've got a hedge running on the DAX, break even on the FTSE. And obviously these two. So what I'd like to get today is ideally a 5R drop on the NASDAQ and that will be £1,000, which will pay for both hedges and then make a profit. So that's today's plan for the indices. If you're only trading the US, if you're trading a pre-market range, you will be hedged. If you're trading the 5-minute ORB only, you are probably at 2R on that one. If you're trading the 5-minute ORB, which was it's an inside bar pre-market. If you're trading the 5-minute ORB today, there you're probably about 1R. So if you've just taken the opening range breaks today, both of those nicely in profit. But the pre-markets, which is what I like to trade, one hedge, one clean. But we're about to hit target on that. Right, so ADRs today is only Euro Swiss at the moment. I just need to make a note. Just got to fix that problem with the EA. It is the timed exit. Just so I don't forget. What percentage of account do you put on a single index trade? So I use 0.25, which is 0.5%, basically, because obviously stock index hedge takes 2 trades in each direction, 1 TP, 1 runner. So 0.25 is 0.5%. But you know, the more aggressive you want to be, if you're trading on prop, you probably want to be more aggressive, because obviously the idea is to try and pass as fast as possible, get paid as fast as possible before you hit a stagnation run and blow the account, because that's what tends to happen. But yeah, conservative with real money. Right, Euro Swiss is the only ADR today, and that is literally because of that quick safe haven injection we just had off the back of the Storm Shadow news, which is slightly pulling back now. So I'm not quite sure. I wasn't aware that we had authorized use of Storm Shadow. I know that the government was talking about it, but it hasn't been on the news anyway that we have granted the rights for them to use Storm Shadow against Russia. So obviously that now confirms that we have. So the same as when the US long-range missiles were granted to be fired into Russia, you're going to have slight worry in the stock market, because this is a massive escalation of the conflict. So basically now 2 of the main powers in the West supplying Ukraine have authorized attacks on Russia. So as far as Russia's concerned, we're basically by proxy at war. So just be careful with stock trades today. If you're going to try and long this, you are fighting potential safe haven runs, which means basically massive stock sell-offs to run into Swiss and yen pairs. So yeah, it may well do that. It did the other day. Remember, on Monday, I think it was, wasn't it, where I said just be careful today, because it did the same thing. We had a massive safe haven run when the missiles got shot from the west. That one undid itself. This one could do exactly the same thing, but it's all about Putin and what he says next. So far, he hasn't said anything, but then again, it's only just happened. So just keep your eyes peeled on the news today, and be careful. ADRs, there are no others. Weekly ranges, there's only the one, which is US CAD, which I've already covered because I'm already in long on that one. RSIs at the moment, flat, really flat at the minute, RSI. We've got really sustained grindy price action that's not really going anywhere. A lot of these trades that I'm in at the moment, I've been in them for a long time now. Yeah, so that one I've only been in for a couple of days, Aussie, New Zealand. But you can see the price action that we've got at the moment. It's just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down all day. This is it. This 5 or 6 days, we've literally gone that far. It's just not moving at the moment. So all the markets at the moment, very sideways, and not an awful lot happening on them, as you can see. A little bit of volatility over the last couple of days with what's going on in Russia, but yeah, very odd price action we've got in the minute. Not an awful lot happening. It's really bad drawing, but it's kind of a horse pattern. Not sure if it's bullish or bearish. I just made it up, but anyway, I just saw it there. So yeah, we're going to go through all the pairs today, have a look at everything, see where everything is. I haven't got a massive amount of exposure on. I have got exposure on quite a lot of pairs, but only singles, because just doing that all the time at the minute. For those of you that are members and are following what we're doing in the member streams with those strategies, I think I found a problem. Just want to quickly cover this while I remember. So this is the lazy trader. I went all West Country then. Lazy trader strategy that we've been working on, which is basically a quick pullback scalp strategy. Afternoon travel. Afternoon pot DJ, didn't see you there. And Mark. Which is banking very, very nicely every day and doing a very good job. We've still got that pound US dollar, which is the only one that's got problems on at the moment, and that's going to start to scale out shortly. But everything else is banking nicely. However, I found an issue with it. And I've looked through the code this morning in detail, and unfortunately, I've spent most of this morning's time that I was planning to do for tomorrow's stream trying to figure out where this bug is. And I can't. So the idea of this strategy is we get a bull day and we short a bull day. And when we get a bear day, we long a bear day, yeah? And it scalps a quick ADR out of it for us, or a quick third of an ADR, half an ADR, whatever you want to set. But as you can see here, this is clearly a bull day. We opened here, we closed here, and it went long. It should have gone short. It doesn't matter because it made money, but it would have made money doing the short. This one worked fine. So I've gone through all the pairs that it's taken trades on so far. As you can see there, bull day short. That is a bear day short. Now I've looked through the code, and the code basically says, very simply, if the day is bear, yeah, and if price is within whatever percentage of the wick, the bottom of the wick, then press the sell button. There is absolutely nowhere in the code that reverses that. So I've rewritten the EA this morning with cleaner code, and I've called it Lazy Trader version 3, which I've been testing this morning. It gets exactly the same results as Lazy Trader version 2. So I don't quite know where it's gone wrong, but it's gone wrong somewhere in live trading. And this is what live trading and live forward testing is all about, is trying to find and make sure that it does what it does in the strategy tester. So there's a clear bear day and it went short, should have gone long. That is a bull day, it went long, should have gone short. That is a bull day, it went short, correct. So why 2 times it got it wrong and 1 time it got it right on the same logic? I don't know. So I need to dig into this a little bit. I've also done another test with the EA in which I removed the bull bear logic and said at the end of the day, press one of the buttons, whichever one you come to first at random, and it did it. And I did another test and it still makes money. So what I've actually found out is it doesn't really matter what happens. If you press the button at 9 o'clock at night in the UK and you go long or short, over 80% of the time you will have hit at least a third of an ADR in distance in both directions. So it's a good finding because it means that we can random button press at 9 o'clock and make money regardless. However, it's not what the EA should be doing with the strategy that I've coded. So I need to comb through this a little bit more, this code, and figure out where it's how it's managing to go the opposite direction. I've got a feeling somewhere in there may be a magic number conflict. And that's the only thing I can think of. So I'll update you on this tomorrow if I can try and get some more done on it this evening. But there you go, there's another clear example. We got a whacking great bull day and it decided to go long. It should have gone short. But it still made money going long. Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. Usually the first basically what this EA seems to be doing after the additional testing I've done, which is great, is during the Asian session, it just moves around about a third of an ADR in both directions. This is what this accidental finding is telling me. Look, it doesn't matter if you'd have gone long or short. It doesn't really matter, does it? And then we'll move in London. So the pairs that we're trading, which are non-Asian pairs, a lot of them, it just makes money anyway, which is a good finding. And it just kind of proves what I've been saying all along about how this thing is random and it doesn't really matter what you do. Flip a coin. It all works. So I will work on that and I'll try and cover it tomorrow morning if I can figure out where the bug is. But if not, we'll cover something else tomorrow. Right. So that's where I am at the moment, position-wise, etc. Nothing much bank this week because we haven't really gone anywhere. And there's no RSIs to look at. So we'll look through all the pairs today as we've got no more news today, and obviously we'll just see if we can find any opportunities for entries at support resistance bounces and stuff like that. Tomorrow morning, be aware of Asian news. There's lots of it. We've got Bullock speaking tomorrow morning, and we've got Ueda speaking tomorrow morning as well. And then tomorrow afternoon we've got unemployment claims. So Asian session tomorrow morning is going to be very, very busy. 3R hit downside NASDAQ. There's that entry I just said about on the Dow. Anybody take that? If you did, well done. But that was the short entry. So that was your pullback short. We're on our way to 5R. Market seems scared today by that missile firing, as I am sort of shocked because this was not announced. You would have expected this to come up in the feed because it's quite important because it now drags the UK fully into the conflict in the same way as Putin turned around and changed the nuclear doctrine because the US allowed them to shoot missiles. We in the UK are now allowing them to shoot our missiles as well, which basically means by proxy we are blowing up Russia. So be very careful trading any ADRs against the Swiss franc and the yen today. There's a possibility of a similar sort of move going in. That was the safe haven run yesterday. It undid itself, but you never know. Is that the closing 5-minute candle at 9 p.m? No, this is an hourly closing candle. That strategy we've been working on 2 different strategies in the members streams. This is one of them. It's a very simple strategy. All it does is it trades at 9 o'clock. It's got conditions, but it takes a trade at 9 o'clock based on the day's price action, and it tries to scalp during the quiet period, which it's, as you can see, it's doing a fantastic job of. It's not going to make a fortune. It's not, because it's small movement scalping. And then basically what it does is it turns whatever doesn't work into position trades and manages them as position trades and scales out of those. So we've back tested it over all post-COVID, and it's got very, very, very good results. But it is just another position trading strategy. Yeah, in the same way as ADR reversals, RSI reversals, support resistance bounces. This is exactly the same. It's basically saying, get me into a trade for a reason. If it hits target, excellent. If it doesn't hit target, get me out when it does. Position trading. So it's another position trading strategy. But it's different in the way that what it does is it banks constantly. Small amounts of money. So this is everything you see green here is a TP, i.e. the trade has worked out. Everything you see that is not green is a trade that didn't work out, that we closed out for break even. So it either goes for, sorry, it's that one there. Either goes for a break even exit, including commission, or it hits target. So far, I mean, this is not a long-term test. This test started on the 11th of November, so it's only been running for 13 days. So you can't use this as, oh my God, he's found the Holy Grail. It's got in testing somewhere between a 70 to 80% strike rate. So far, we've got pretty much 100% apart from that and that. So we've had 3 trades so far that haven't hit target straight away within 48 hours. So yeah, it's good. But the whole purpose of forward testing, which is what I'm doing here, that we're monitoring and updating on regularly in the member streams, is we want to make sure that it works live in the same way as it does in the back tester. Yeah, because obviously back testing is great, and you can do system robustness testing, etc. Everything that we do in robustness testing, we do. But the results you get out of there, when you live test them, 90% of strategies just fall by the wayside and don't work as they do in the tester because they're curve fit. So we've basically robustness tested this. It's gone through thousands of system parameter permutation tests to make sure it's robust across multiple instruments, which it is. And now the forward test is basically proving concept. So this will run for 4 weeks or so, and then I'll analyze the results and base those on the back tests, then rerun this period in the back tester to make sure the results we got live conform to what we got in the back tester. That's the final stage of robustness testing, basically, and then I'll set it live. So, but it's good. But it basically just takes a trade at the end of the day, and it says, what was today like? Okay, then do this. Very simple. All the best strategies out there are simple. Yeah, all these indicators based strategies, all the strategies you see out there that have got 2, 3 oscillators, use a moving average, use this at that, and do this, that. If they've got more than 2 or 3, maximum 3, 2 ideally, moving parts in them, they won't work because there's too many combinations that are put together to make that strategy successful. And the more moving parts you have, the more prone it will be to breaking in the forward testing stage. The best strategies you can possibly get are based purely on candlesticks. Yeah, if candlestick is X, do Y. There is no indicator involved. There is nothing but distance. The only thing that strategy uses is, what are the distance? Measure this distance. What's this distance like? If this distance is right and this has done that, then do that. There is no moving parts, so therefore nothing can break. So whatever you see in the strategy tester when you're back testing and robustness testing has got a massively high probability of working forward testing, which is exactly the same as position trading. I have one indicator, RSI. Is RSI above there? Yeah, get in. That's it. It's not about the indicator. It's about the management, the money management system that is in place around the trade, not the indicator that causes the entry. That's what makes the money, the exit, not the entry. We are still pushing. This is going to be a 5R today. I'm very tempted to move. I've just done it. Missed it. You saw me try and do that live. My broker said, no. This is coming down further. We're not going to honor that. I just tried to move that live on screen and it went, no. It jumped back to where it was before. I'm out. £1,100 profit on the NAS. 386 or 390 roughly locked in on the DOW, and I've got 350, so I'm about 300 clear on the day or so. But yeah, there's an argument, if you're hedged on the DOW, there's an argument for exiting your longs now, and because this is clearly, we've had NVIDIA earnings out today, haven't we? Oh. Go away. Aftermarket. Okay, so NVIDIA is coming out aftermarket today. I haven't seen anything on the Squawk about it. TJ Maxx. So either this drop is someone knows something about the NVIDIA earnings coming out today, or this is more likely a reaction to the UK now shooting into Russia. So I would suggest this is probably not something you want to try and mean revert today. So up to you if you're hedged. I can obviously leave my hedge because I've TP'd on that. But if you're in the Dow only, there's an argument, I think, for retesting yesterday's low today, which means if you're hedged, if you jump ship on your longs now, you've only got it to move that much further down to there, and you'll be out with a profit. Yeah, Nvidia's after the bell. So I'm always a skeptic about AMC results, because someone somewhere knows the result, and someone with a massive amount of money will pay someone who knows the result to find out the result, and then that person will tell someone else the result, and then before you know it, there's a secret club that knows the result, and they're in charge of where the market goes. So I'm never convinced AMC moves. The other thing about these moves is you'll find this move today, I think, is probably safe haven based rather than this, but you will find that before the closing bell tonight, whatever those earnings are, it will do it before the closing bell. They don't leak that information before the closing bell. Someone knows. So I'm never convinced. But yeah, so there's a biggie there. Who else we got today? We got Palo Alto today as well. There's a few big names last week, but we're coming out the back of earnings fortnight now. So we've had all the major earnings this month already. So this is kind of the tail end, but still big. Nvidia's obviously top 3. NASDAQ. So top 2 now. So Nvidia is the second largest stock. So 8% of the movement of the NASDAQ is made from that one stock alone. So when that one stock has a huge earnings boost or a huge earnings drop, it has 1/10 of the power of the entire NASDAQ movement. So if I hadn't have seen that news about the Storm Shadow firing today, I'd have said Nvidia's earnings are coming out negative tomorrow, but you can't tell what it is. So it's, you know, but if this is a safe haven run, do not get in the way of it, because it's not going to stop. Could it be traded manually? Yes, you can trade it manually. Broker. I should answer that one day, shouldn't I? They literally phone me, if not every day, every other day. It's either my broker or another broker. And I really like playing with them on the phone for a good 15, 20 minutes when they phone up. And I pretend that I'm a multi-billionaire trader. And I don't know where you got my details from, but I'm sending the FBI around to your house. All sorts of things I've said to them over the phone. And some of them have even sworn at me. And they don't phone me back. If you want to get rid of a broker, just waste their time. They hate it. Thanks for subscribing, Barry. Welcome aboard. Didn't see you there. Welcome, Barry. It's now the Dow Jones instead of Intel. That's why Intel is bleeding. It's now in the Dow Jones. It's not. It's in the NASDAQ. This is the NASDAQ. Unless they haven't updated their listings, Nvidia is there. That's the Dow Jones. Nvidia is not there. Oh, yes, it is. Nvidia Core. Oh, it is there. Hang on, it can't be in both. Is it in both? Can you have a... I'm not a stock trader, so I didn't know you could have the same stock in 2 indices. You can, obviously. Amazon are in there. So you can, yeah. Didn't know. I never even occurred to me that you could have a stock in 2 indices at the same time. They're also in the S&P, are they? Oh yes, there you go. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so the weighting is less. Look, so the weighting is slightly less in the S&P than in the other 2, isn't it? What's their weighting in? Yeah, so their weighting in the Dow Jones, look, is only 2. where it's 8 in the others and 6. So that is going to affect the Dow Jones a lot less than the others. So it's really weird, isn't it? You'd expect them to have individual indices because it basically means that they would all move slightly differently if you had different stocks in them. But obviously, the fact that you've got the same stocks in all the indices means if one of them has a massive day, but it is dependent on weighting as well. So obviously they're weighted very low in here compared to the rest. So anyway, there you go. So could be a both, couldn't it? Could be a safe haven run, and it could also be the fact that Nvidia is going to have crap earnings overnight. Yes, you can plenty in the S&P and the Nasdaq. Yeah, I haven't traded stocks for a long time, so haven't really followed them. Never something that I looked into. When SIH enters into a hedge, do you always do aggressive after some hours? I do aggressive at a level, not after a time period. No. So my exits are at levels. I won't try and get out just because of after 2 hours it hasn't quite got somewhere. You could do. It's up to you how you get out, but I always like to have the opposite party on my side. So if it gets to ADR at a previous low, there's a lot more chance of a bounce. Even if it does that, we only need the bounce to exit. We don't need it to reverse. So this one today, I'll leave TP down there. If it gets down to there, yes, I'll attempt an aggressive, but I'll watch it. If the aggressive fails, I'll re-hedge it. But the trouble with re-hedging is you double your loss. So it's up to you what you do with it. All depends on the day. This is the thing. I keep saying it over and over again, and I will never stop saying it. There is no way to automate a strategy 100%, because a strategy on a single instrument, if you traded one strategy on one instrument every day and did nothing else, then yes, you can fully automate it and just do that. But I don't know any traders out there that do that. All traders trade multiple instruments with multiple strategies. Yeah. So my decision making on this today is not based on what's going on here. It's based on what's happened here. The fact that I've made £1,200 or £1,100 here influences my decision making process on that today. If you haven't traded the Nasdaq today and you're only trading the Dow, you've got a different decision making process to me. Therefore, you're going to do something different to me. You may have closed out your longs, which is what I probably would have done in this case after seeing what's happened to the Nasdaq. If you haven't closed them out, you now have to get out of this hedge. Or you can move that TP down miles and miles and miles so it's never going to touch it and just take that $400 loss today. It's totally different decision-making process depending on what you've done. But I will always try and look for an exit because obviously the idea is not to lose money every day. But I haven't lost money today. I've made money today. I've just made a small amount because I've got a hedge and a win. If I'd have had 2 wins and 1 hedge, I'd have made even more money. If I'd had 3 hedges, I'd be down 3, which I have been this week. But it's down to you. I can't give you a set file that works every day because every day is different. But I can give you a way to get out of things every day, and every day is different. So you have to decide every day what to do. But there is no right or wrong. Nasdaq today, if you were hedged on the NAS for any reason, you couldn't be, but if you were, 125 ADR, that is a monthly low, and it's also yesterday's low. So you've got yesterday's limit orders, you've got last month's limit orders at 125 ADR. Beautiful. Yeah. But if this is a safe haven run and no one else knew in the planet that the Storm Shadow missiles were going to be firing into Russia, the entire market now is going, holy crap, sell the stocks, guys. World War III is about to kick off. Yeah. This could be down at 300 ADR today. So trying to get out of it is hard. So best thing to do is to lock in my opinion, £300 worth of loss and just walk away, because I can't lose more. If I try and get out of this with an aggressive exit and it continues down to 300 ADR, I could lose a hell of a lot more, couldn't I? But that's your trading decision, isn't it? That's what we do. That's the job. I was thinking just to close the positions in one direction and to cut from losses. Close the positions in one direction to cut from losses. Yeah. So if it's an impossible decision to make, yeah. Right now I'm seeing lovely big long wicks here. So what my decision-making process at the moment on this is, if we pull back into here, exactly the same as we did here, yeah, there's a chance that we're going to start a new leg down. So if you need to close the longs because you think it's going to continue short, that's the place to close the longs, because then your loss is that rather than that. And you're going to need to move less distance down to make profit on the shorts, aren't you? There's always two ways to get out of a hedge. It's this is definitely going short, shut your longs, get out your shorts. Or there's the leave it as it is, get out your shorts and take the bounce. For me, that's the easiest way, because you've got limit orders that are going to help your trade. Here, if this pushes back up, you are assuming market structure is going to continue. If this is the low of the day, you're going to be completely wrong, which means that you're going to get out your longs, it's going to push up, and your shorts are going to go into drawdown, but you've got no longs to help you that way. Yeah, there's no, this is trading. There's no way of telling what's going to happen in the future. There's no one knows what's going to happen in the future. No one at the moment, because we haven't had confirmation from Putin as to what he's thinking about what's just happened. There's no way of knowing whether or not he's going to come out in 10 minutes time and say, right, you lot, get to DEFCON 4. Or he might go, we were expecting this. Our response will be retaliatory in the future. Probably come back up again, can't it? But if Putin says World War III is about to start, it's coming down. If he doesn't, it's going up. Yeah. Literally no one on the planet can tell you what's going on or what's going to happen. You just have to make a 50-50 judgment call. This is why trading is so hard, because the odds are 50-50. The only way you're going to make money is if you get 51% of your trades right. Today, don't know. So for me, it's a leave it at the minute. You can see how strong this is. You are catching a falling knife here. Traders today in prop firms will be going pop all over the place trying along this, and they'll keep doing it until their accounts have gone. It just don't get in the way of that, would be my advice. But I'm not a financial advisor. ADR's just gone off on pound New Zealand, so we've got some movement on that as well. So nice strong movement on the pound today. Obviously with the CPI bounce being at 2.3, we would expect a strong pound today, because it means interest rates are not coming down. They've just been taking their sweet time to do it. But starting to get some strength coming in on the pound now this afternoon. US buying it up a little bit. We haven't gone through any other pairs yet, have we? So that's what I'll do now. Right, so the yens, I'm going to whiz through all the yens, because the story on the yen is exactly the same as it has been for the last couple of months. Intervention, no idea, whatever. Yeah, no one's got any clue what's going on with the yen now. So I've got long only stance on it because of cost of trading. I don't want to long it though, because we're getting too high on the US dollar yen, or we were getting too high on the US dollar yen, and I'm worried about an intervention move coming in. So at the moment, we had the reversal alert go in last week. We are now retesting propulsion from that reversal, and it looks as a beautiful 3-bar reversal pattern going in now. So it looks like we might be starting next leg down. Whether it is or not, we'll have to wait and see. But this is way too high for the Japanese. They will be doing everything in their power to drop this back down again, because obviously cost of trading, cost of doing business with the US is very difficult when your currency is devaluing at that rate. So this, and obviously couple this with the fact that things are starting to get tenser and tenser and tenser with Russia. If that is the case, everyone's going to buy the Swiss and the yen, because it's a safe haven. So the yen is just going to power up. So this looks like a really good short, but it's just too expensive for me to trade. So all the yen pairs are in exactly the same boat at the moment. They are either being ground against by a stronger currency, or they are just sitting absolutely sideways, going nowhere. So there's very little you can do with the yen at the minute. It is just dead on most of these, and directional bias is virtually impossible to call on it, because they've got a new monetary policy now which we haven't seen in 2 decades. So you just don't know what to do. So I'm staying out of it. It's basically not on my radar to trade. It's got to be a AAA plus setup for me to even think about it. Yeah, it needs to be like 90 plus on the RSI, or 200% of ADR or something. Yeah, it's just got to be something absolutely like, wow, that's definitely going to come down, and I'm only going to scalp it. I don't want to hold long term on it. So it's kind of off my radar for position trading for the moment. Intraday trading, it's literally sell the highs and buy the lows at the minute. Yeah. So if you go beyond a previous low, buy it. If you go beyond a previous high, sell it. If you get to a double top, sell it. You know, it's so unbelievably range bound on virtually everything apart from the US dollar that it is all you can do. But at some point, it's going to stop doing that. Yeah. So, you know, buying up the lows and selling previous highs or thereabouts, you know, half an ADR either side of a high, other way. That's really all you can do with it. So, they're all very much the same. And the Swiss franc, as you can see, is very, very, very similar at the moment. Again, I'm not really doing much with the Swiss franc at the minute. I'm long only on it. I was long Euro Swiss, and obviously I cocked up with the EA today, which got me out of it accidentally as a loss, only a small loss. But Swiss franc, very much the same. Very sideways at the minute. Very difficult to call which direction it's going in, and it's exactly the same as the yen in the fact that we had the safe haven run, we recovered, and now we're not doing anything. So Swiss and yen, very much the same. I can't really think of anything to do with it but sell the highs and buy the lows. If you're not at a high or a low, there's just no point in getting involved. RSI will tell you when you get to those levels anyway. So any RSI extensions on the 4-hour 10 RSI, or any RSI extensions on the hourly 21, are pretty much going to show you where highs and lows are likely to be. So when you're range bound, any oscillation is going to work always. Doesn't matter what you use a MACD, use an RSI, use a CCI, stochastic. Don't use a stochastic, but if you want to use a stochastic, you can. But you're going to get a lot more signals on a stochastic than anything else. But any oscillator really is going to be pretty tradable with any Swiss or yen pair at the moment. But when it takes off, and it will at some point, obviously just manage the risk on it. And just be careful. So ideally, if I'm taking them, as I did with the euro, I'm staying in line with swap, because it's 12.20 to short it, and they're paying me 2.30 to long it. So I'm looking for longs. I would have been today taking a second entry on that if I hadn't stopped out on it by accident. But actually, in a way, it's good that it did. Good that I did. But yeah, so all those Swissies are the same. All the Swissies and the yens, very, 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 very range bound. So just look for any pushes out of RSI. So RSI dash alerts, if you're using the EA, probably pretty good to trade them at the moment. But as I say, I'd stay in line with the swaps. So it means just longing all of them. So long only on all of these at the minute. So good entry down here. If we get to 150, 200 ADR, Be a good little long opportunity, and you'll be extended on RSI. US dollar Swiss is the only anomaly, as is the US dollar yen, because the US dollar has been rallying so unbelievably hard. It's beating both of these out the water at the moment. So, but that US dollar this week is starting to show signs of pulling back, and the profit take move starting. So, if we get a Santa rally, which we quite often do, most years we do have a Santa rally, which basically means the stock market rallies. If that does happen, we tend to get weakness a lot of the time on the US dollar. So there is a potential for the US dollar to sort of drop when the Santa rally begins, and it tends to kick in towards the end of November, early December. So if that happens, we will see a weakness in the US. So anybody that is still in US dollar CAD, there's a good probability of, I think, coming back to the pre-election area. Whether or not we undo this, I don't know. It all depends what the market makes of Trump. But I do think there's a possibility we can break this level and come and retest this is where the election was. So retest this area here, which is kind of your 138. 500-ish area. So this propulsion gap basically, and then either go range bound or rally, but we'll wait and see. So those are your Swissies and your yens. Georges, will you be adding onto SIH to have more features, as in POS, to help in scalping other instruments? No. It doesn't need anything else. The whole strategy is to hedge the opening range. There is nothing else to do with it. That is it. It does what it does. There's nothing much else you can do with it. Is there a problem in the position trading EA? No. When I try to press the buttons while my settings is on a mount, it doesn't enter. You've got an old version of the EA, Youssef. You're not on version 1.71. Check what number you're on. You're probably on version 1.6 something. So just check that. There was a bug in an old version, but long time ago. Many months ago. Check your version. You might need to update. If ever you want to know about any changes, always go to the product page on the website, and there's this area here called What's New. That there. If you click that, it will give you all the version numbers and what was changed in each version. So there you go, bug fix, version 1.61. Buy and sell buttons were not working when using money risk amounts, now corrected. That was August. So about 3 months ago that was fixed. So just check. Always check your versions, because there are bugs every now and again. I've just found a bug today. The trouble with my products specifically is I make them incredibly flexible for everybody, so that I don't release stuff, like this EA does this and this is how it works. I release stuff that this EA does all of this stuff and it can do it in 1,000 ways, because no one wants to do the same thing in the same way. So I make everything have inputs which are variables which are flexible. Unfortunately, it means there's a lot more stuff going on behind the scenes, and every now and again a bug gets crept in. So I've just found one today with the timed exits. They still work when button trading is set to true, which they shouldn't. They should be closed off when button trading is active, because obviously we don't want it to do all of this stuff, as I've just found out today by closing out trades in a loss. But yeah, so that is a fixed one. Right, Aussie CAD. So I've done the Swiss and the yen. Aussie CAD, coming off of ADR on the NASDAQ and the DOW is coming up with it as well. Aussie CAD, basically, I'm looking for trades in either direction on this. Unfortunately, as I said, I had a long on from the RSI extension there, second entry. I did have, it wasn't enough. I did have a profit on it up here. I was looking for it to push up and double top, and I still am. So we've got a reversal alert down here as a low. We've got a high, and I'm looking for a higher low to be put in on this leg. Probably exactly where I've got out by accident to push back up into propulsion. I think this is a false breakout, basically. So looking to get up into there on that one. If you're in it still, well done. This was pretty much break even-ish anyway, so it didn't really lose any money. But that's where I'm looking for that to go. I'm not going to re-enter it, or shall I? $7.10. Yeah, I might actually. Yeah, I'm gonna jump back in on that one. So just re-entered that because it's got me out roughly where I wanted to be. So I'm looking for it to push back up into that high, up into propulsion. If that doesn't work out, then I will. Second entry is going to be. I can't see it. It's obviously behind a line somewhere. Oh, that's not even set up right, is it? It's because I was mucking about with the inputs, thinking I was using the strategy tester earlier, and I wasn't. I was using my live one. Right, so that's where my second entry is going to be, is down at this weekly low. So if we just take out that weekly low and push up, that'll be my next entry in there. And then failing that, we're coming down into the monthlies, which we're going to find limit orders triggering off those monthlies. So yeah, re-entered on that one. Aussie New Zealand totally sideways at the moment. I've got shorts on from back here where we pushed down. Oh, was that an ADR entry? I think that might have been an ADR entry. Where did I get in on that one? There. Yeah, so this was the ADR 125. It wasn't really an ADR 125 because we had this broker candle on Monday, but the EA got me into it, and I don't really mind getting into it. But we sat around yesterday and just did rotation. We're rotating up ever so slightly today, but I'm looking for a push down on this one. Second entry is going in at ADR today if we get there, which means testing that monthly, weekly high at 125 ADR. So if it pushes up into there, second entry will be in, and then I'll trade it when it comes back down, or get out when it comes back down. But as you can see, it's totally range bound, so I've got no problem really being in there. Rather be in there. We'll find some limit order triggers off of that. But no bias. Aussie US, longs on at the moment. 2 trades on this one at the moment. Still not going anywhere. This is the first entry. Sorry, that was the first entry back here on this RSI, extended and embedded for the day. We then pushed down. We've sat around for 3 days. We've had a bull day, sat around, and now we're back to where we were after that day. We're basically, the entire week is wiped out, hasn't gone anywhere. So all we've done is rotated below and above the average price. So hoping we're going to get a push back up. In fact, I'm going to stick targets up just shy of this propulsion area here. So the 4-hour propulsion gap, which is here. So on the hourly, it's a triple propulsion. There, that big strong move down. So that push up, I'll look at that area as getting retested and then them reselling that level. So market structure, reversal, and looking for that type of movement out of this propulsion area that we pushed out of yesterday. So this is a range break high, retest, retest, go. That's the plan. If it doesn't work out and it drops, add another position. But the next entry on this one isn't going to be until we break out this weekly low. So it'll be down here somewhere. Obviously, this is all dependent on what the US dollar does. So at the minute, it's all over the place. Market Kind of looking like it wants to do a profit take on the US, but still not sure. It shouldn't be long on it. So we'll see what happens with that one. Euros, cover those. We'll post to the members group once I show some results. Oh, sorry, missed the bit above. Morning, Meh. Didn't see you creep in. Running the SAH in combination with another EA to help offsetting losses when hedged and to eliminate discretion during hedge recovery. Okay. I wouldn't post it in the well, you can post it in the members group if you want to. Post it in the main group. The timing above your webcam making me sad. It's the most ignored thing in here. Yeah, I don't really use it. I put the countdown up there because I was running member streams straight after it's gone straight after the normal live streams, but I know I'm doing the member streams twice a week and the other live streams 3 times a week. I don't really need the timer, so there you go. It is removed. You now will not be upset by the timer. EuroCAD. I do still try and keep it to an hour though. Euro odd. All the euro pairs. Lagarde is very much on top of everything to do with the euro. It's all going very, very well. We've got a very weird shruggy head and shoulders type pattern working out here. The euro basically is neutral at the minute, so it's more likely to get pushed around and pulled around by the other currencies. We've got one more interest rate drop coming from the euro, I think. Possibly not until January, possibly in December. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think what's going to happen with the euro is after that next interest rate drop, it's going to stabilize. I think everybody's getting to the point where they're going to stabilize. Unfortunately, they're all stabilizing their interest rates higher than they want them to be. So we'll wait and see. But the main thing that's going to impact the euro moving forward over the next quarter is Trump. So as soon as Trump comes in January, he's going to put trade embargoes, or rather trade tariffs on Eurozone. So we haven't had it confirmed yet what they're going to be. And the same with the UK. We don't know what they're going to be. There's talk of them being quite harsh, in which case they're not obviously going to strangle economy in all other zones but the US, potentially. So that is probably, we go through these cycles of conflict driving currency, interest rates driving currency. Now it's trade war. And we had this before with Trump. The main focus was what is Trump doing with trade and economy in the US, and that was what was driving other currencies. We've come out of the interest rate drop now, and I think we're going to stabilize interest rate drops. I can't see interest rates moving much more than 0.5 to 0.75% over the next year in either direction. So it's pretty much back to what we used to do before COVID. We've done the COVID rally, we've done the COVID freeze, and now we're doing the COVID drop. We're just coming out of that now, and next year is going to get back to normal. Fingers crossed. So I think we're pretty much there with the euro. So direction wise on this, as usual, you would be slightly bearish on the euro, but not dramatically. So as you can see, it's kind of pretty stable at the moment for the last couple of months, and I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't be any different. So there's no problem, I don't think, trading the euro in either direction right now until we get that news from Trump. But if it does kick off in Europe, the euro is going to drop. So there's far too many things going on in the world at the moment to have any side of kind of confidence in directional bias long term. But euro I would be neutral on. So I don't mind taking trades in either direction on this. At the moment, I'm short only because of swap costs. So I'm looking for RSI extensions to the upside to get in short. Any big, strong ADR pushes, I will also take short. Euro, all the euro pairs are the same. So euro odd, euro CAD, more interested in shorts. This is obviously coming down a lot stronger because of what's going on with the US at the moment. Euro pound, again, RSI extension to the upside, short there. You had one back here. You did have a long which worked there. And like I said, you can probably get in either direction on this. It shouldn't really matter because it's the other currency moving around that's really going to move it. So as long as the pound or the CAD or something else doesn't go into a parabolic rally for some reason, there's no reason why they should, because they're all stabilizing interest rates at the moment. This should just go up and down. You should be able to get in and out of anything, really. As long as it's stretched, it's probably going to profit take. Yeah. The only things that have got danger at the moment of going parabolic are the Swiss, the yen, and the US. The US because of Trump's decisions, the Swiss and the yen because of conflict. Everything else should be pretty safe from a directional bias. So swaps is my main focus, basically in keeping trading costs down at the moment. So no trade entries on that at the moment. It's getting ready for a long, though, not far off. Euro pound. So this propulsion move at 150 ADR is probably going to tip you over on RSI for a long. It's more expensive to trade it, but there is going to be a setup there. Euro US dollar, obviously we know this is coming down hard because of US strength. You can see how weak the euro is compared to the rest. This US dollar's had a nice reversal over the last 48 hours. We haven't really done anything here. So we are not moving at all with the euro. In fact, the euro's been weak along with the US over the last couple of days. So kind of basing out down here. Again, I'm looking for short. So I was hoping for a pullback up into here to get short, but didn't quite manage it. So anywhere up in here, I would love to take a short, but can't get in at the minute because it's just not pulling back far enough. I need it to have pulled back so that I know I've got high probability of an opposite directional move starting. So all the euros pretty neutral. Pound, very difficult to call at the minute because the budget. So obviously Rachel Reeves went, that was the budget. So Rachel Reeves killed the pound. No reason why we shouldn't have a slightly weak pound moving forward, especially if we're now allowing missiles to be thrown into Russia, because that's going to destabilize us, isn't it? Yeah, we should be dropping interest rates. When you look at the interest rates everywhere at the moment, the pound is 4.75, very high, too high for inflation at the moment. We got down to 1.7. We've just ticked up by 0.6 to 2.3. So we were expecting that bounce. So Bailey was right not to drop interest rates. However, they are still far too high. So if this turns tail, which it should do, i.e. drop from 2.3 next time down a little bit, we should see possibility of another interest rate drop. So what they seem to be doing, and which is probably the right thing to do at the moment, although Bailey started too late, is you drop your interest rates when your inflation has dropped and expect your inflation to bounce. And then when inflation stabilizes or drops, you drop the interest rates and you keep that happening like that. Yeah. So as we've just had the bounce there, we should expect a drop next, which means interest rates should come down in January, not in December. So still far too high, though, compared to the euro down at 3.4. We got the CAD down at 3.75. The Aussie only peaked at 4.35. So we are still way behind with the pound. Now that that's happened, it's likely that the economy is going to contract, which means they're going to need to drop interest rates to help economy boom. You cannot borrow money cheaply as a company if interest rates are high. So they need to counteract what they've just done, which is charge everybody in the UK that runs a business a shed load of cash. So it's highly likely we're going to get an interest rate drop. That is going to contract the economy. So there's a double bear effect on the pound. So I'd much rather be shorting the pound than longing it. However, from a cost perspective, it costs me a lot more money to go short on the pound than it does to go long. But it won't come down like that. Yeah, so it'll probably do that sort of price action, yeah, where it's just gradually, a bit exactly like on the chart here. Don't know why I didn't use the chart. Yeah, absolutely no problem going long on it on the way down. But it will also get to a point where it sits sideways for a while. So I don't really mind which way. Again, I trade the pound at the moment. There was a lovely long opportunity down there, as you can see, which the EA took for me. I should still be in it, and I've accidentally closed it out because of my fat fingers. But anyway, it should still be in long. My target was up in propulsion. We've just kind of tapped into propulsion, but my target was up sort of around about ADR. So that trade's working out nicely. If it continues up into here, good looking short. Pound CAD, got long on this at the moment. Haven't gone anywhere since I got into it. So you can see the entry was here. We've rotated up, rotated down, rotated up, rotated down, and now we're starting to rotate up. I just can't do anything. But this is why I'm now trading in line with swap. We get a lot of this rotation, news, rotation, news. Yeah. So waiting for a news event. And while I'm waiting for the news event, I want the cheapest possible trading conditions, which is at the moment longs. So I'm long on it, waiting for a push up into propulsion. Just waiting. Nothing I can do. So that was the entry. We had another entry back here if you missed that one. You've had another entry there if you missed that one or that one, but it's just not moved. So still long, still waiting. Pound Swiss and yen I've covered. So pound New Zealand market structure, absolutely beautiful, just textbook at the moment. So RSI extension to the upside, push up into a propulsion, ADR hit. We've just had an ADR on this one today. So you would have had a short entry there if you're using market reversal alert CA. If you're using the position trader EA, your entry would have been possibly there, if not there. So either way, whichever EA you're using, if you're using ADR 100, you're in. So short, but it could push up further. We'll wait and see, but it's just textbook price action on that at the minute. It's just the absolute definition of perfect market structure. Don't know what that drawing was. It was meant to be that. But yeah, anyway, so looking good. But obviously, we've got this area coming up to the downside, which you may well find a deeper bounce off of. But no signals on it at the moment. And pound US dollar, obviously coming down against the US. We've got a weak pound. We've got a strong US, even though the US has been weak over the last couple of days. The pound's been worse. So still pushing down. You had the long entry from yesterday on, from last week on this. So you may well be long on it at the moment, looking to come up into here. I'm only looking for shorts, so I'm looking for it to get up into there, and then I'm going to short it out of that area there. So just waiting for a push up 175 ADR. But if I get an RSI extension to the upside, which sort of gets sticky, I'll get in short anyway, and then if it goes further, I'll take another one. So all looking good at the minute for shorts. New Zealand's afternoon outro, evening. Twig, doesn't help when Labour gives the public sector massive pay increases. I know. We can't win. It doesn't matter who you put in charge. They will do something wrong. You can't run a country, basically, and get it right, because you just can't do that. Because there is never going to be an opinion that is the same with everybody. This is why we have elections and we have mainly a two-party system, because half people think that and half the people think that. Whenever you get someone make that decision, there's half of the people that go, that's the wrong decision. You can never win. Politics is a horrible job because you're always wrong. Even when you're right, you're wrong. And then when you get it really right, someone else goes, no, that's wrong. UK missiles have been used to strike Russia. Yep. So this is why the stock indices, I think, have sold off today. We had a lovely parabolic break at the open. So yeah, wasn't aware we had allowed that, but obviously we have, because either Zelensky's gone, screw it, I'm going to fire him anyway, or not. But with our Storm Shadow system, I'm pretty sure the Storm Shadow system doesn't work without US systems, which we get from the US for Storm Shadow. So as far as I'm aware, I don't think Ukraine could have fired them without the US's okay as well. I'm not 100% on that, but that's kind of what I understood. So the fact that the US are now allowing them to use their targeting systems with their intercontinental, when their long-range missiles, that was the next logical step. But they had to have okay from the UK government, as far as I'm aware. What we haven't heard anywhere up until 2:30 this afternoon was anything coming out of the US, out of the UK, that said, yeah, go ahead, fire them, mate. So he's either done that without warning, which I would be very shocked if he had, or we've given the okay and they just haven't told anybody, which obviously now drags us by proxy into the conflict in a much bigger way, which means that stock indices will sell, Swiss franc and yen will rally. If Putin, and there's always an if, yeah, and you've heard this in trading probably many times before. Buy the rumor, sell the news, sell the rumor, buy the news. Doesn't matter which one it is, but what you tend to end up with is an A-shape or a V-shape recovery move. Exactly the same as we had yesterday. V-shape, A-shape. Yep. So either the moves that we're seeing are going to completely upend themselves, and we will be back up here within the next 2 to 3 hours, because they've gone, holy crap, they fired the missiles. Yeah, they got the go-ahead and Putin was expecting it. Oh, right. Or, holy crap, they fired the missiles. Putin has just put everyone onto DEFCON 4. One of those is going to happen, isn't it? Yeah, so this is why we watch the news. This is why we pay attention to fundamentals, because it's what makes it go up and down. Crude oil inventories. It is Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, oh, losing track of the days. Yeah, so crude's just come out 330. 0.5. So the barrel count is up, which is negative crude. New Zealand dollar CAD, I've got a long on from last week on this. Again, another one that's just not gone anywhere. You know, there's no point in taking tiny little bits of profit. I mean, I could have done, but just didn't quite get there. I was only targeting that tiny little propulsion move there, and we still didn't even get to that. Now we're back down at the open. So 5 days sideways. So in that one long, but this, you know, this is pretty typical. Two commodity pairs. We've had a lot of commodity movement over the last few weeks, so these just sat sideways. New Zealand US, again sideways on this. I've got a long on. New Zealand CAD, New Zealand US, very much the same trade. Back to the origin, looking for a push up into propulsion, but just not got anywhere. Nothing's going anywhere at the minute. Just stuck. So US dollar CAD, long on that one. So targeting up in propulsion up here. I'm going to watch if we get an ADR on this. I'm just going to set an additional alert on this ADR today. Whoop. Got my volume turned off. So yeah, I'm just going to target. I'm just going to keep an eye on ADR today. I might get out at ADR on this one, just because if this is the start of the correction on the US, we're going to put a market structure bouncing potentially at that double top from yesterday's sort of high. So this is yesterday's high and ADR and the propulsion move that started on Monday. So likelihood is that's where the add point will be. We've got the bounce point off the limit orders, which is the accumulation break. So that's where they add, which they are doing now. And it's a case of who's going to be in control, buyers or sellers. If sellers are in control, we'll break down that way. If buyers are in control, we're going to make new highs, or at least retest those highs. So for me, that's the obvious exit. And I'll just watch what happens price action wise at that level. That's it. Everything else covered. Gold obviously will be pushing up because the US is weak. And when the US goes strong, gold goes down. I think they fired US ones yesterday. Yeah, yeah. So basically, the whole thing with uh, the conflict at the moment is it's all about Putin's reaction. So with everything that we trade, it's driven by supply and demand. We've got a couple more ADRs gone in. Euro pound has just hit ADR to the downside. So this is a pretty decent monthly support that's held up. It's not that strong, but I mean, it's strong enough that we get a reaction at it. So good reaction point. I'm not quite sure why this is coming down so much, whether this is euro weakness or pound strength. This is euro weakness. This will be money coming out of the euro, probably into the Swiss. Yes. Difficult to tell, actually. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, times of conflict, or the first reaction when anything kicks off that is unexpected or is expected and then happens, is basically the first reaction is to exit risky assets. So if you watch the fear and greed index, yeah, you will see this fly down here. Yeah. So when this is going down and dropping, your stock market will be dropping. When this is going up, your stock market will be going up. When your stock markets go up, your currencies go down. When the stock markets go down, your currencies go up. That's the typical reaction. It's not always the case. But basically, this is kind of your barometer for stock strength. So bull market, bear market is kind of the way it works. So when you get Putin saying we're DEFCON, the US do, but when he says we're changing our military doctrine, as in we're pulling down the level of which you guys are annoying us before we press the button, it scares people. So you sell all your stocks and you put your money somewhere safe. Swiss yen. Yeah. Low interest rates, low fluctuation, low risk. Stock markets, huge risk. Yeah. So that's what we're seeing at the moment, which is why I suspect we're seeing the sell-off today. But also there's there's always more than one thing that affects everything. We could be looking here at the preemptive move on Nvidia after market. I would have expected it to do that, because I would expect Nvidia to have decent figures, but they may not do. So it could be a combination of the two. You can always tell if it's a fear element, though, if you look at the Swiss and the yen. So if the Swiss and the yen are rallying, i.e. everything is coming down against the Swiss and everything is coming down against the yen, that indicates a safe haven run. But that was when the US missiles were shot. This is when the UK missiles are shot. Yeah. This is basically them going, oh, it's not as bad as we thought. Oh, it's not as bad as we thought. But then you will get one day where this will suddenly go bang, and then it will go bang, and it will be because there's been a reaction which is stronger than expected from Putin. And you get stuck. So mean reverting these sorts of moves is always risky, but they will quite often do that. But when they don't, you can't use any kind of position trading or non-stop based strategy on them. You've got to try and pick the bottom, and it's always very hard. People get killed trying to pick the bottom and top. We know it doesn't work. So, but this one today is either a 38 retracement drop or it's a V-shaped recovery, isn't it? One of the two. We don't know which. DAX didn't quite get to my target. We came out of propulsion on the DAX. But we've got that propulsion holding, hopefully, short. That's all I've got for you today. So tomorrow morning in the members stream, I haven't got anything planned at the moment because today's plan has gone out the window because I found two problems with two EAs, of which I've been trying to fix one and I couldn't. I've spent all morning trying to fix a problem and I can't actually see a problem. It's one of those needle in a haystack things where there's absolutely no reason why something should do something, yet it is. So tomorrow morning, I haven't got anything planned at the moment, and I'm going out tonight because it's my birthday. So tomorrow morning stream may be a little bit haphazard. But we'll cover something. My plan tomorrow was to start looking at the DAX. Well, I keep calling it the DAX strategy, but the index EA that I'm working on, which is going to be multiple index strategies rolled together into one decision-making EA, basically, that will use a logical process of steps that it will go through to make money every day. A bit like a trader would, but making sure that it sits on its hands when there's absolutely nothing to do. So what I might do tomorrow is go through the plan for that in detail, which is basically kind of like a index trading 101 lesson, if you like, which is basically these are the main setups in index trading. These are the main things you should be looking for in index trading. These are the main decision-making processes most traders who trade indices look to trade. Yeah. So that's kind of my backup plan for tomorrow, which is just going through what the logic of the EA will be. And it's a combination of the price action toolkit and the opening range breakout EA. So it's all stock-based intraday scalping strategies. But the premise of it is very much along the lines of what we've seen today is with the NASDAQ. Yeah. So as with all intraday indices traders, their decision-making process is, I want to take 1-2 trades maximum ideally and make money and then go. Yeah. So the goal, and this is kind of from the prop world as well, you know, this is kind of their ethos in prop, is what they try and teach you as well, because it's very hard to do, is basically if you can take that trade there and do that and put that in the bank, off you go. You're done. Don't trade anymore. Yeah. So the idea of the strategy that I'm putting together for the EA is, if we get this work, that's it. We're done. We don't take any more trades. But if that doesn't work, what do we do next? Well, we'll see if we take a short there. And if that doesn't work, what do we do next? Right, well, there seems to be a range bound open, so let's wait for that range to break. And then if we break above the pre-market highs, then we'll look for longs. Yeah. So there's a decision making and a logical process that you should go through. Unfortunately, what most traders tend to do is go, I went long, I got stopped out. I went short, I got stopped out. I'm crossed now, so I'm going to go short again. Why? What's the point? You've no idea where the market's going. It's just told you that. So wait. So now if the market does this all day, you don't do anything. Yeah. This is where everybody gets killed when they're trying to trade. Because they've made 2 losses, they start to chase the loss. They either increase their lot size or they take stupid trades with no reason whatsoever. The market is telling you, I don't know where I'm going, so therefore we don't do anything. We wait for a new rule, and that's basically what I'm going to program. So it's going to be laying out the top strategies for, and this, I call it index trading because there's an obvious advantage in indices. We know when they're going to move. With Forex, though, this is also something you can do in Forex. So it may be that this EA can be applied to Forex as well. The problem with Forex is we don't know when it's moving because it can move at any time of the day. So but the strategies are the same. Yeah, we're looking for support resistance. Yeah, exactly the same as I do all day long every day. Yeah, there's a reason things bounce at ADR. There's a reason things bounce at previous days highs, lows, weeklies and monthlies. Yeah, so it's just about putting all that logic together in one thing and letting it just do its thing to try and make money every day. But like the opening range breakout EA, there needs to be a backup loss as well. So if you try 4 trades and 4 trades fail, you're done. Walk away. It ain't working. You're reading the market wrong. It's just not working for you today. So stop. EAs are the same. If they're getting it wrong, they need to stop. So it's more programming into the EA a logical way to trade rather than anything else to stop you being an idiot, because it's people that make stupid decisions, not EAs. You teach an EA what works and let it trade what works, it'll work most of the time. But when it doesn't work, it won't get cross. It will just make losses, and that's what you need to let it do, because you can't force the market to make wins. The market does what the market does. Right, that's it. So I'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock for the member stream. I'll be back on Friday at 8 o'clock for the normal Friday session. Q&A. We'll have a look at the week, what's happened this week. We may well on Friday cover what's going on in the members stream strategies that we're developing, just to have a full recap of those. But we'll probably cover those tomorrow anyway. And then we go from there. Anybody got any other questions? Anything else they want to look at, discuss? I think I've covered all the pairs. Let's see where we were from a fear greed yesterday, just out of interest. I suspect we were a little bit more greedy yesterday. Oh no, we were actually less greedy yesterday. Interesting. I would have expected that to actually go the other way, but I suspect it probably will now we've had the missile launches. Just seeing where the next one was before that. Oh, it didn't give us one. Oh, there is. Neutral, yeah. So we're kind of flicking like that, aren't we, at the moment? Scary. Quite rightly so. Right, I'll leave it there. If anybody's got anything else, I will be in Discord. Cook's speaking at the moment as well, so just be aware we got Talking Head going on. So I'll be back tomorrow morning. Anything else you need, I'll be in Discord. Other than that, have a good day, and thank you, David, for the tip earlier. I shall spend that tonight. Yeah, I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.